I'm Dr. Jennifer Jones, clinical psychologist and specialist in love, happiness, and parenting. Today we're going to talk about how to help someone that is anxious feel less anxious. So probably most of us can imagine anyone in our lives who is very anxious, and it's quite a common occurrence in our society today: anxiety, depression, and fear. Most of us run off anxiety without even realizing it. So here are some things that you can do for yourself or the one that you love. The first thing is really to talk about what's bothering them. And I know this seems trite, but most people in our society tend to not talk about what's going on. They tend to think, oh, that person is worried about something, so I shouldn't mention it because it will make them more anxious. Actually, the opposite is true. You need to ask them about what's bothering them in detail, not just what's bothering you, but your catchphrase is, tell me more about that. And they'll say, oh, well, this thing with my brother is bothering me. Tell me more about that. Oh, well, you know, he always does this and I want him to do that. Tell me more. And the more detail that you get out of the person, the less anxious they will feel. Basically, you're breaking down the blocks, the neurological blocks that are holding them in their brain to really focus on this piece of anxiety that they probably haven't talked about in detail for a while. That's the first step. And that takes about an hour of your time. It's really, really important to just sit down, make deep eye contact, and get as much detail as possible with as little comment and judgment as you can. Really try to be an ear. And I would actually rephrase talking to them to listening to them. The second very important thing that you need to do with anxiety is it's a brain issue. Our brain gets locked. We get in these regular pathways of experiencing certain neurotransmitters that cause a lot of stress. So the more anxious you have been, the more anxious you will be. It's sort of this recurring loop that we get stuck in. One of the ways to break this loop is to exercise 3 times per week for a minimum of 30 minutes each time. And what this does is all of those stress hormones that get blocked in this neurotransmitter loop actually get released through exercise. And it doesn't have to be rigorous exercise. It can be something as simple as walking, but it needs to be for a minimum of 30 minutes. That's very, very important. The third thing I want to recommend to help yourself or someone you love who is experiencing anxiety is really to conquer your fears, even the most basic fears. Let's say, I have a friend who's afraid of sand crabs at the beach. And it seems like such a strange thing to conquer and to focus on in terms of his bigger picture anxiety, because his bigger picture anxiety is more related to work, career, finances. The common sense thing to do would be to really talk about those things and focus on that. In addition to talking, exercising, he has this big fear of sand crabs. So again, it's a neurological loop that we're caught in. So the best thing I could do as his friend would be to take him down to the ocean and really do some desensitization exercises with him. And all that means is you sit with him on the sand and really let him experience this fear that he has, and don't let him get up and run. Be there with him. If someone's afraid of driving, go take an hour-long drive with them. If you yourself have a fear of birds, go to a bird sanctuary. So the idea is that you're conquering fears, and fears and anxieties are directly related. Even the small fears that don't seem to be directly related to the things that are bothering you, they are very much related, because the brain, although it's very powerful, cannot differentiate between the different neurotransmitters and if it's a logical connection or not. So if you are holding a fear, an unconscious fear of the dark or whatever it is, something from your childhood, sand crabs, addressing that fear, even if it doesn't result in you completely eradicating it, will reduce your anxiety significantly. So those are 3 very simple things that you can do at home. For more information, check out my website. I have lots of articles and information on meditation and other therapy, other sorts of ways that you can reduce your anxiety. www.drjennifer.com. Dr. Jennifer Jones, because life is too short to be anything but happy.